Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we discuss and celebrate our favorites in TV and film. I am your host, Xavier, and today I am joined once again by my Popcorn Watchlist panelists. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of being here talking with both Anthony and Danny today. We wish Zach a fun little vacation. He's going to go off and explore the wilderness of the Great North over up in Canada. So he's going to reenact a whole bunch of his favorite outdoor scenes in films. Hopefully not The Grey, but
Damn.
Yeah, I went there. But
or the bear.
Or the bear, yeah, or Cocaine Bear, or anything. And man. But probably just the nice stuff. Maybe also not Balto. I don't know. That one's kind of.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie though. Even though that's in Alaska. Whatever. Point is, it's going to be the three of us.
We went all over the place.
We went all over the place. It's the three of us today. And today, we normally talk about movies. We always, been going through our watch list picks. We've gone over through some stuff we've seen in theaters. But what we talk about with our introduction, the other side of things, both not just film but TV, we're actually going to talk about a fan favorite. This week's episode is going to be all about Ahsoka on Disney Plus. Fun Star Wars series that we have the distinct pleasure of getting. I don't know, that's just me personally, but we'll be able to kind of talk about a general overview of the show, what we liked, what could have improved, favorite moments, and maybe some speculation of where it'll go next. Suffice it to say, we will be definitely going into some heavy spoilers for the show. So if you have not seen it and you want to kind of figure out what the heck we're actually talking about and not just throwing up a whole bunch of random Star Wars references your way, go ahead and watch it. If you're not into Star Wars, tough. No, I'm kidding. Even for someone who maybe doesn't necessarily enjoy or like Star Wars, I would give the show a shot and then, give us a listen and see what you guys thought along too. So, kind of going right into it.
Curious to see how this would play out if you know nothing of Star Wars and you just start with this.
I mean, they made this show with the hopes that you have watched
kind of seen Rebels.
Well, you've seen Rebels and parts of Clone Wars and some of Mandalorian.
Yeah, this is basically
all of Star Wars kind of
sort of, yeah.
Mixed in.
Kind of going right into the talk about the show. This is writer and director Dave Filoni's really big pet project because the character Ahsoka was created by Dave Filoni himself. And he actually met with George Lucas a long time ago to kind of helm the Clone Wars show and start off with that animated movie that was hit in theaters, and then it was basically a fancy pilot. Go right into it, and he has been able to take a lot of the big reins on some of the side projects for Star Wars ever since. Some would argue it's some of the better projects that we've seen to come out from Star Wars ever since George Lucas has sold the property or sold it to Disney. You have him and Jon Favreau have been playing around with a lot of this stuff with Mandalorian and kind of kicking off the sort of revitalized, hey, it's a TV show, but it's also Star Wars and it's pretty great. So
they're the closest thing to George Lucas.
I will say, I have actually met Dave Filoni, just at very at some events at Star Wars Celebration, and I will say that he gets it. He gets Star Wars in the sense that he knows how certain story beats go. He knows the character arcs. I mean, he was referred to George Lucas because of his work on Last Airbender. If anybody knows anything about animation and animated shows, Last Airbender is one of the top tier shows of all time. Anthony will
Anthony and Zach.
It's very good. Very, very good.
Zach would be out here dude, Airbender. Yeah, but just Airbender. Yeah. And he starts singing the Secret Tunnel song right now. But it was cool seeing it was a little panel that Dave Filoni was in, and you could see him just drawing up little stuff from Airbender, but then drawing up little sketches for the show, and then talking about how these little arcs go. And if you notice anything with his work, is he likes to do things in maybe 3 or 4 episode arcs. So it was really cool to see that he gets a whole 8 episodes to play with in the show. And it's with a character that he created. So he knows a lot about, what's in her head, what's motivating her. He knows how to write for her, basically.
And know where to take her next.
Yeah.
So.
But it's not just characters.
Yeah, he created.
Yeah, it's not just It's not just her that he created and that he had life with too. Like, basically, like Anthony said, there's a lot of reference to both Clone Wars and a show called Star Wars Rebels. So those are also on Disney Plus. And if you ever burn through all of like the main Star Wars movies and you're like, I need more, or I would like to know more, like go give those shows a watch. Yeah, Clone Wars first couple seasons seem kind of lighthearted for it being about war, but season 3 really starts to kick it up.
It starts off more of like a little kid show, and it gets a little bit more serious as it goes on.
Yeah, he and Anthony and I are kind of used to some animated shows that they start off, they let you in smooth, and then oh man, this is where it gets real. Like like there are it's war in Clone Wars, so like people die. There's a lot of there's really bad atrocities. It made sense like then when you see like in episode 3 the whole crawl says heroes on both sides. You're like, oh yeah, when you watch the show that makes sense. So the Clone Wars show,
lore of the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Clone Wars show gives us a lot of like more of a gradual progression of how like someone like Anakin became what he did in the other movies. Anyway, focusing on the show, I was really excited to see it because we saw some of Ahsoka already on Mandalorian season 2.
One episode in season 2 and
Boba
Boba Fett.
Yeah, the episode of season 2 of Mandalorian was actually directed and written by Dave Filoni.
Yeah. Wasn't that his first directorial debut? I think?
No, wasn't he
live action?
Yeah, wasn't he? Didn't he also direct the one where he goes back to Tatooine in season 1?
Season 1?
No,
yeah,
that was Taika Waititi, I think.
No, that was the premiere and that was the finale.
Oh, the finale.
Yeah,
let's look it up.
I'm pretty sure I'm right about this.
You might be, but
I feel like season 2 was the first.
Not saying.
Because I know he was heavily involved in writing and creating season 1, but I don't think he directed.
Not like saying
because they
like
had specific. They had like 4 or 5 directors that did all the episodes for season 1, and he wasn't one of them.
Oh, so
yeah, the Gunslinger season 1, episode
was,
5.
Yeah,
that was.
Oh, he did the first episode.
Yeah.
He directed it.
Yeah, he directed the first episode.
I thought.
Yeah, director Dave Filoni, first episode. Writer was Jon Favreau, but I thought
Favreau
directed it. It's credited to Filoni.
Favreau did the first episode in season 2.
Yes, he did.
Oh.
And then Dave Filoni did the Jedi episode in season 2.
Which is season 2. He did all the episode 5s of seasons 1 and 2.
So wait, what was episode 5 in season 1?
The Gunslinger.
Is that the worst episode of the show?
It might be.
Well, I don't know. Season 3.
No, that's
the one with the annoying kid, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where we
Yes, that's with the annoying kid.
Yeah, I didn't like that episode.
Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't. I tolerated it, if that makes any sense, but I'm a massive Star Wars nerd.
At the time, I was like, yeah, that's easily the worst episode of this season.
I'm a Star Wars nerd, so I can tolerate a lot.
But then Book of
Boba Fett came out, so I was like,
again, I can tolerate a lot.
He didn't direct any in season 3.
No, but he directed the episode where Cad Bane shows up in episode 6 of Boba Fett.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which again, another character that he had his hand in.
That was cool seeing it in live action.
He didn't direct 6 because that show only had 6 episodes.
5.
Of Boba Fett? It says that's 7 episodes according to IMDb.
What?
Yeah, because
am I going crazy? I thought there was only 6 episodes.
Was Mando's return. Episode 4 was him speaking to like the Pikes and the other syndicates.
Right.
I forgot Stephen Root is in this.
Yeah, Mando's return. It was the whole episode, which was great.
Episode 5.
That was the best.
Right, it was episode 5.
Was that best episode?
And it wasn't even about the main character.
There's 7 episodes.
7?
Yeah, 7 episodes.
Wow, I thought there was 6.
Like a
I could have sworn.
Well, Bryce Dallas Howard
did that
she
one,
did the
best
Return of the
episode.
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
but
she did.
What's his face? Robert Rodriguez did the finale, right?
Well, he did 1, 3,
3,
and 7.
With the biker gang.
Oh, the biker gang. All right, back to Ahsoka.
Anyways,
just leave it there.
But that's part of, I guess, that's part of like what we can say about how this show is compared to maybe the past couple of Star Wars shows, at least for me, where I feel like overall this was a marked improvement from Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
it's not a perfect Star Wars show. it has some pacing issues for me. But yeah, compared to even Obi-Wan had some cool moments, but I felt like was pretty disappointing because it could have been really cool. And so with Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, was there something after it? Oh, and season 3 of Mandalorian was the weakest of the 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, man, they need like to step it up, and I felt like this was a good step in the right direction.
Did they step up
to the streets?
There you go. Yeah, did they step up?
No,
to
they
the streets?
stepped up to Tatooine.
No,
not in this show.
They
though.
stepped up
Finally.
They stepped up to
yeah,
a
we
whole nother
finally
galaxy.
didn't get a Tatooine.
Yeah,
they
stepped up
learned their lesson. Like no more deserts.
No, we got cool forest planets, and then we have some other like barren, kind of rocky planet stuff. Yeah, so I liked overall like the character growth for quite a few of the different characters in the show. Again, like we talk about Rebels, so like the first 2 episodes was just like almost the entire Spectre crew of just like, hey, here's where everybody is. Because we're missing one person.
Yeah, Zeb.
Yeah, I was just like, yo, where's my boy Zeb?
Too
like,
expensive.
Yeah,
well, he was there in Mandalorian season 3. So.
Yeah, for one little scene.
I remember,
it was probably expensive.
I remember nerding out hardcore
CGI.
for that when I was like, yo, it's Zeb. Anyway, it was, yeah, so initially it's cool like seeing Ahsoka, and then she's hanging out with Hu Yang, which was the robot played by David Tennant.
Oh, he was
Dude, he's
cool
awesome.
Character.
He's great in Clone Wars, and like he was that they brought him back in live action was awesome. Like he had like just David Tennant is just lately has been killing it in the voiceover game. He's great an actor too.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen Broadchurch,
he's killing it in the game.
He's killing
the
game
of life.
He's too good. And then basically like the live action cast they got for everybody I think was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Like Natasha Liu Bordizzo for Sabine, especially the first like 2 episodes, her whole like I'm gonna be rebellious phase thing, which is interesting because how she is then and like what we find out more about her towards the end of the show, I thought was nice in retrospect when you look back at everything that she's been through.
Mm-hmm. I would say the only one that was a little off for me was Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Hera, yeah, you're gonna say Hera.
Like I think Hera. She's a great actress. I like her in pretty much everything she does. I just don't know if she was right for Hera, because if you watch Rebels, Hera's kind of like the mother of the group, and she's always portrayed as like the older and like wiser person in the group, and it just seemed like you kind of just see Mary Elizabeth Winstead in makeup, and she kind of doesn't exude the like motherly nature that she did in the show. So I just felt like yeah, it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she's doing a pretty good job, but it didn't seem like it was exactly her. There were moments later on the season where she did act like, you know, like she's the general. She's like, no, I'm gonna go do this. I'm like, yeah, that's how she would act.
Yeah, like the first 2 episodes.
But yeah, the first couple
subdued.
where she was in it the most, it was just like, I don't know about this.
Yeah,
but it was a little better by the end.
It gives people more time to do stuff towards the end. Like there's we'll talk about favorite moments later on, but like overall, like we talk about the returning characters. You know, I remember thinking, how is Iman Esfati going to be as Ezra? And that dude nailed Ezra.
Yeah,
100%. Like all the mannerisms, like the way he spoke, the way like although he's older and wiser,
sounded just like him.
It was really uncanny, dude. It was awesome. And then the fact that like, well, again, a favorite moment later on, but like,
well,
yeah, we'll get
in terms of other characters too. We also have Lars Mikkelsen coming back.
That was godlike.
Awesome.
That was just godlike. His whole entrance,
his introduction sequence, so good.
They understood the assignment, and I can tell that Lars Mikkelsen was having like fun. Just hey, I can portray this character in real life now.
I've done the voice, so I know what I'm doing.
He knows exactly what he's doing. But then it's cool that we also have coming back. Morgan Elsbeth, like just continuing more what the character's about.
She was introduced in the episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yes. So then she comes back and you realize, oh wait, she's a Night Sister. Like this is cool. Like and then more and more connections later on happen. But so we talk about returning characters. Carson Teva, who's played by Appa from Kim's Convenience. But he's also going to be Uncle Iroh in the live action Airbender.
Nice.
So that's going to be baller. But anyway. You got to see more of him of just like, hey, like, Paul Sung-Hoon Lee does a great job of in certain points being like the person who doesn't understand Star Wars is like, what's this whole Force stuff? Like, why are we doing these things? We see a more grown up Jason. Is it his? He took his mom's last name, right? Syndulla, or did he take Jarrus as the last name?
I
think it was Syndulla, right?
Syndulla,
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, we got that, and then we got
the one we haven't mentioned.
The OG, the man who's probably still, or not the man, but the droid who's wanted for the most war crimes in the history of all Star Wars.
Chopper style.
You got Chopper.
Chopper style.
Funny enough, Chopper is voiced by Dave Filoni. So
if you call that voiced.
It is a voice. There are times I remember in the show, I was like, did he just what? Like my brain went to be like, he just cursed this dude out. Like so, like you got some of that, like it's like in episode 2, like Chopper being sassy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what this is. I
also
just shoot.
the court thing where he's ready to just.
He was gonna murder
this guy.
He was gonna murder this man. And funny enough, like about the Star Wars, like more Star Wars connections. Like yeah, this was a show that I think only I watched. It was Star Wars Resistance. Like that was more like on the kiddie side.
Yeah,
but,
I didn't see it.
That was the one like with like
it was like
the
Soul Shade or
sequel
something.
trilogy.
Yeah,
area.
it was in the sequel trilogy area, and it was like you had this kid who's basically the kid is the son of the senator that showed up in there. That was the one who's like questioning and being skeptical and criticizing everything the Hera was doing. And then it's funny, like we're not gonna accept word from a droid, which was cool because C-3PO rolled up. That's the way to keep it classy with the Leia reference. And like it's like we're not gonna accept words from anybody that's not here, nevertheless a droid. And Chopper's like, oh hell no. And like Carson T was like, please don't. No. It's like we don't need another.
Carson knew what was gonna happen.
We don't need another galactic incident where like we'll blow up a ship or something. So like we have the most of the Spectre crew back, but then we also have new characters.
Yeah.
So these new characters were pretty awesome. I think I would say for my 2 cents.
We'll all say Ray Stevenson, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. But he
held it.
He understood the assignment so well, like the stoic, sort of like remorseful, but also like driven by an unseen purpose. Like he just like the gravitas he delivered with every line was just so good.
Even his like look and
his
his
beard, man.
Yeah,
he had that
everything.
Great big bushy beard.
So stoic, and it was cool seeing somebody like him, like who have an apprentice that's like most apprentices are just very a little hot-headed and questioning things, and he's just like, no, I seek a greater purpose, but but you could see like he's so layered, like there was so much more to this character. Like when Morgan's having him like, oh, we're gonna have to take out Ahsoka, he's like, okay, like,
what a shame.
Like, I'd rather not.
Yeah, he's like, what a shame. He's like, is there a remorse? It's like, no, just the truth. There's just so few of us left. Like,
yeah. He had some great like couple lines here and there, and it's like just saying like a sentence, and you're like, man, I need a whole show about this guy.
Yeah, I need to know.
I need the whole backstory.
I want to know how this guy survived.
I wonder if they make any like video games with him in it. That way they can somehow like
continue
keep the character
without animated.
Without having to like really to have him there, and they can get someone else to do the voice.
That's what all the Jedi Survivor. Cool. That's all the EA Jedi games could be about. Mm-hmm. Like, because he made an interesting reference about like, oh, there's all these Boken Jedi that are just being trained by survivors of Order 66, but not in the Jedi Code. The whole idea of just like, do you miss the Order? He's like, I miss the idea of it.
Yeah.
Like that became a meme in of itself, but like the way he still said it, like you can tell there was a legitimate sense of longing. But he's like, oh no, but they were also full of themselves.
Mm. Yeah. Like he knew like both sides to it.
Yeah, he was written really well. Like you can tell like Filoni was putting a lot into the writing for him.
Yeah, it was really cool that they kind of showed that he's sort of a Sith Lord, but not really, and he's still like part Jedi. So that's why he's kind of like one of those in the middle.
He's just like a bad Jedi. Like, he's not even like a bad Jedi. I prescribe to all like the dark side stuff. He's more just like, I'm just a Jedi who sort of out for myself. Like all their lightsabers that are orange are cool. Dope as hell.
Like if they're not red, so like, oh, okay, he's not like the true bad guy, but it's almost red.
It's like like I grew up with the Jedi Order stuff. It's not just like I'm now corrupted with all my hateful feelings. No, it's just like I understand there's something greater than this, and we'll get to that later.
Clearly,
yeah,
he was looking for something great.
Yeah, he's so cool, and like his lightsaber and Shin's lightsaber are really cool. What else? We got, again, crazy spoilers, but going into the, we got some interesting stuff about how the Imperial remnants going around. We have with that guy from House that was a bad guy for episode 2.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it's just weird. I see him just like, what is this guy? Like,
yeah, it's like
I
the doctor from House.
Yeah, it's that one doctor from House, dude. Yeah. Anyway,
it was one of those where it's like in Mandalorian, like the Jack Black episodes. It's like it just doesn't. It just doesn't work because all I see is Lizzo and Jack Black. I don't see Star Wars characters.
We're going to like dovetail for a second.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that was that bad.
It was
there
terrible.
Are others,
dude. It was.
There
terrible.
were others like this guy.
I love
from,
Jack Black, but it was terrible.
This guy from Book of Boba Fett that was in this guy that's in Veep. He was the major domo. I was just like, I can't not see him as like this guy from like.
Yeah, I know.
But that's not my fault. Like that's. I mean, that's. I know that's me.
But that show was like that in general. So
I know.
It's like,
yeah. So anyway, going back to it, like we talk about good casting and everything. Effects, believe it or not, I think were consistently good.
Yeah.
Like everything from we had like
fight sequences.
We had a space like
world between worlds.
We're not there yet.
We had a good amount of dogfights.
Yeah, we had dogfights. We had
dogfights.
Outside of a ship. Lightsaber deflections. That's really cool.
And hopping.
Yeah, like space hopping, spacewalks with a lightsaber, which happened in Clone Wars, the show. So like, we're gonna bring that back. That whole opening scene with Sabine, like kind of just getting away from the whole Lothal thing. I liked it. I also like that it's on Lothal. That was like this whole like, hey, this is that planet from Rebels, and you have the whole mural from Rebels, and
it was pretty cool. I just didn't like the rock music.
Oh, you're on crack. I love that song.
Yeah, it was pretty. I don't know. It just seemed off.
Not Star Wars.
Yeah, it was like.
Or it's like that.
Like it needed to sound. It needed to sound like more futuristic rock. It just sounded like a song that I could hear on the radio.
But in Huttese, are you gonna hear a Huttese song? And
yeah,
it was like that Visions episode where the guy wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah,
but that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
But anyway, and that was another character. So Ryder Azadi, the guy played by Clancy Brown, he was also doing the live action version of his animated character in the show. Like we have a lot of that going on right now, and it works.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it works. These guys know the characters, so it was cool getting to figure out more about where these characters have been since the whole post Return of the Jedi kind of thing. Like we find out Sabine, who's a Mandalorian, actually wants was training to be a Jedi. Like, oh, you see her with the lightsaber, like, oh yeah, like she had the darksaber for a bit. And Ahsoka tried training her because of stuff, and that didn't happen. And then you have I think overall, like I won't get into specifics of the show, but I like the fact that we got more deep dive into a lot of like the lesser seen stuff of Star Wars, and it almost got like kind of more out there and a little more mystical, which I'm all for it because it expands more on Star Wars. Like people using the Force is the Force, but it's space magic. But then there's other people who use their own form of space magic, and how that ties in with the wars part of it.
You have all these different groups like Thrawn and coming in, and like obviously after in timeline wise after episode 6, like
the whole empire is kind of like broken up.
But
the Emperor
are they?
Yeah, but are they? No, they're still hanging around. They're still doing stuff. So you have conflict. Ahsoka's white lightsaber still looks really cool. Like you can tell, like she's still like sort of like the stoic Ronin samurai. It's just like, man, I've been through stuff. I remember there are a lot of initial, like as the episode coming out, a lot of criticisms like, oh, she's too wooden. She's not playing the character right. I'm like,
but obviously
the character's been through stuff. But then once you get to episode 5, we talk about things change because you have to she's on the brink of death, but she has to sort of remembers herself by having one final lesson with her former master, which was so cool to see.
Which, when we talk about favorite moments, I think we could all say this is up there on the list of best moments in this. Or just like live action Star Wars.
Well, just that's why I liked episode 4 so much, because it was like
built
a
up.
lot of stuff happened. There was a really good fight between Ahsoka and Balin.
True.
And
Well, we had the fight before.
yeah, we had to find the forest between
her and
Merrick and Shin and
Sabine.
it was like round
Sabine.
2
Yeah.
with Sabine, and then
So it means like, I got stabbed. What the hell?
and then at the very end was like the cameo. I didn't think he would be in like that episode. I figured it would be later, and so yeah, it was really cool.
And it was not even just like a cameo. It's like, hey, this is the whole like we're gonna have a whole episode.
Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
a 2-second thing. Like,
Yeah.
obviously we knew big things were gonna come up.
shivering Force Ghost, and he's like, you have much to learn, Snips. I was like,
They even released that episode in theaters for some people. Like,
episode 5.
Yeah.
Episode 5, yeah.
I almost drove 3.5 hours to watch it. That would have been awesome because that whole episode, that was a whole
Seeing that
favorite moment.
yeah.
That episode to me
really
was
cool.
a complete favorite moment. Like it had all the connections to Clone Wars. You had
The flashbacks.
Yeah.
Like a flashback / new.
like spirit, quest kind of
Yeah.
thing going on. At the same time, like he's fighting her like in the whole that world between worlds place that showed up in Rebels, which I won't get too much into the whole lore because I'll bore everybody who all our listeners, but you have all that going on, and like you have like young Ahsoka that's played by this girl, Ariana
Greenblatt.
Yeah, she's a
Who's
heavy
also
hitter.
been on everything lately.
Yeah,
She
heavy
was young
hitter right now.
Gamora.
Yeah, she's in the Barbie movie. Now she's young Ahsoka, and it was cool seeing like the different points of like Ahsoka's like her going through stuff, and especially like during the whole Mandalore thing that ties into Clone Wars. It tied into
what happens?
what happens
or
later
what
on.
they explained at the very last episode between her and Sabine.
Yep, and it's just like, oh yeah, this happened, but it was really
Captain
cool.
Rex.
Yeah, the Captain Rex cameo, which is dope, and it was, I think Tamura Morrison did the voice too. So
Oh, for sure.
It was cool to see Hayden Christensen in
The Clone Wars armor.
and the outfit,
Short
and
hair,
even his
too.
hair. Yeah, it was really cool.
yeah, it was, and like it's like weird to say, but like, dude, it looked perfect, like completely natural.
Like I could see more of that. Just give me a whole thing on that.
And like based off of like, because they fought like one time in Rebels, like they actually had a fight when he was like as Vader, and so it was cool seeing like she's fighting like his Force Ghost, and like he's in like that creepy Sith form, and when he's going through like walking through like the whole like, man, we talk about legacy, and it's like flashes into Vader. It's like, dude, this is too cool.
So
like,
good.
And like he's walking towards her.
Or even the other one where he's walking away with all the clone troopers. In the smoke, you see the transition between.
Yeah, that was in Ryloth. Yeah, they go off and it's just like you see him walking out with the lightsaber. Let's go, and then he's running, and you see that, and it's Vader, and then him running at her or walking towards her is the same Vader flash because she had to reckon with that, and she has to do it again. So it's like, man, like no matter, like that's still part of the legacy, and you have to like accept it. So it's like, hey, I accept to move on and continue it, which I thought was really cool.
And his fighting,
dude, the choreography.
Yeah,
dude.
man, he had
the spins,
the spinny, twisty McFisties.
I bet he was just, it was like, oh, I don't
Just
even have
natural,
to, like, it's like that's not that much choreography. Like I learned this.
Practiced this for.
They did it for months in episode 3. Like him and Ewan McGregor practiced that fight sequence for months, dude. So it's like him, it's like riding a bike. It's like, it's great. But that whole episode was a great moment. But there's all these other small like great favorite moments too. Like, I I really dug like getting stuff toward later season of the episode. But like that forest fight with that was like, it was very like especially with the leaves. It was very like samurai like it was very, because then that's what the show
even
really
the score a little bit in some scenes, like you could tell it has that samurai vibes.
Yeah, like I think the whole show in the end kind of feels like a sort of like a space samurai epic. So it
which who doesn't like
who
that?
wouldn't
Star
want something
Wars.
like that? Yeah, like Star Wars like that. And then originally George Lucas had a lot of ideas from the Jedi from samurai, so that's like honoring the legacy of what that was. And like the fight sequences seemed like that. The way Ahsoka fights, she has like the shorter saber and the longer one. They're curved like like samurai handles on a katana. Like it's there. Like it's totally there. And even like her updated like outfit after she wakes up from getting picked up from the water.
Almost.
Yeah, basically, like almost like Gandalf. She's Ahsoka the White. On dawn of the fifth day, look for me in another galaxy. Sure.
But you could tell, like, after that, like, her whole, like, mood and not mood, but like her whole vibe just changed.
Yeah, she was more positive about it, and so
which is like the Ahsoka we all
yeah
wanted and knew.
She was the one, like the risk, the happy-go-lucky risk taker, like, and it was like war and all these experiences. Like she was saying, like that you took that away from me. It's just like it's still always there. Like you have to choose to continue being that and being yourself. Yeah, a lot of really good, interesting themes here. Like same thing with Sabine, like kind of like working through it and believing in herself. Hell, even Thrawn, just like persistence and patience pay off.
He's such a mastermind,
dude. Like I remember they talked about bringing him in Rebels. I was like, oh, they're gonna do this guy now, and like immediately from like the casting, their eyes like, oh, this dude's badass. Like or like he's written really well, and now we talked about it, like the grand entrance with like his refurbished Chimera. The name of the Star Destroyer is the Chimera, but like.
With the gold, like
it's very Kintsugi. Like that's very much the thing where like we're gonna repair it with the gold. You see it in the Night Trooper armor now, but like they're all like about it.
It was a good like white with red accents, and then the gold.
Yeah,
it looked really really cool.
His second in command like has the coolest helmet ever. Like
a face, but
I'm gonna say right now, and this is maybe sacrilegious for people who really really like the sequel trilogy, but like. Are with less lines and maybe the same amount of screen time, maybe a little less. He's already cooler than Captain Phasma. I'll say that right now.
Yeah.
Like he's not shiny and chrome like Mad Max Beyond. Yeah, he's not chrome doming. Like that dude is gold plated, stoic. This guy's Thrawn's second in command. Hit that whole introduction scene. Like even with like the Night Mothers with their freaky like. Looking like Dune sisters, that was that whole once they got to I'm gonna dovetail here, but once they got to Peridia, like that it gave me everything was giving me Dune vibes.
Yeah,
like every episode 6 and beyond, like the planet and like the way the ship flew in and the way they spoke, because all the Night Sisters like when. Like Mother Talzin and stuff, they had that weird reverb to their voice.
It's like the lower pitch and then the higher pitch at the same time.
It's so cool. It's freaky, and it gives them the effect that these are these supernatural beings that, and like there's more finding out, but like back to his introduction where he's just walking, he's like, oh, what was once a dream is now a frightening reality for those who wish to oppose us. Like.
And the music in the background.
Yeah, and like the Thrawn music from Rebels. Like, dude, this is already like this man knew what's up, and like he still kept pristine. You can tell it means there's still discipline with everybody. Even when like they went off in episode 7, like send 2 TIE fighters to shoot him down, and they ended up getting
crashed. He's like, send a report or like write him up or
whatever. Like give their commanding officer a commendation. And I was like. This man is all about it. And he even said, it's like, yeah, we're going to come back and we're going to restore order. Like, it's like, hey, I believe in having order to this. Like you get that in the whole, like, sequel trilogy First Order thing. But it's like...
This is really...
Yeah, like, this man believes it. And, like, he shows that he believes it based off of all that. So it's like...
Another sequence with him that I loved was, I think it was episode 7... or towards the end. No, it was the last episode, the finale. Where he's talking with the 3 Night witches, and they pan to him, and then you see the 2 TIE fighters drop and like go off right
behind him.
Him.
That was dope.
Oh, that was such a good shot.
Yeah, that was.
And he's just dope. Right in the middle.
And he's just there in the middle, still standing in that like stood up posture, just like yeah, send him out. I think that was episode 7. No, was it 7?
Well, it has to be when they sent the 2 TIE fighters.
Yeah, because they had found Ezra. It's like, we found him. Yeah, go take him out. I'll have some acceptable losses.
Yeah.
He's like, because I also like, what did he say that in episode 7 or 8? Where he's just like, I've seen too many people underestimate the heroics of a single Jedi. He's like, I even fell to the heroics of a single Jedi. Yeah. And then that was another favorite moment when we find out it's like because his thing is all about doing the research, like culture and everything.
That's the best part of him.
Yeah, he's just
obviously he's not like a villain with like hands-on action.
No, he's a man who does his homework.
Yeah.
You remember he did all that stuff in Rebels?
Yeah,
His
Rebels.
mind.
He's like, I like to study people's culture and their art to like know how to defeat them.
So he's just like, I need to know Ahsoka, what her race is, where she comes from. I need to know their master. And I found like, it's according to the records, her master was General Anakin Skywalker. You see his face is like, oh,
well,
that's what I'm dealing with. Okay, like this man, and he's like, oh, you're Anakin Skywalker's apprentice. That means you do a lot of brash, unexpected stuff. I'm expecting the unexpected. Like, the man has just
even his final speech as he's leaving. Leaving them behind.
It's a shame we're stuck here, but I win.
How close?
He's like,
how similar would you have been?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It was.
Yeah, it would have been fun, interesting to meet face to face, but for now, you're stuck here while I'm back. but all their cool moments, like finally we get to like. Initially, there's like freaky Night Sister stuff, like Night Sister magic, and then
their magic looked cool on screen.
Yeah, dude, because you see it in like Clone Wars and stuff. Like, okay,
in the game,
and Jedi Survivor, and Fallen Order. Like you see some of that, you're like, oh man, this is real, and then it ends up being looks great in live action.
I like how they did their voices, where it's like that echo throughout like all three of them.
Yeah,
kind of like their
we mentioned like
the Sisters of Fate. In like Greek mythology,
or we were talking about also like
Dune.
The Dune.
Yes, the Bene Gesserit.
The Bene Gesserit, yeah. Talk about cool moments, like any other like cool moments that stand out to you. Anything we talked about, like the TIE fighters going off, like almost everything Ezra did, like in terms of like fighting or like in like fun in the moment conversations, like in the middle of the action was spot on.
So I liked Ezra in the finale. Because he's like, I'm going to make my own new lightsaber.
Yeah.
I kind of was a little iffy when he was like, you can use it. Yeah, you can use it, Sabine. I'll use like my Kung Fu force powers. Like, I wouldn't have minded. I just felt like some of the moves that he did didn't look that cool. So I was like, I hope this isn't him like forever.
No.
And then the next episode he's like, let me just build on my cool. There you go.
Yeah. But
do a little bit of both.
At first he's like, the Force is my ally. He's like, I'm going to need more than just the Force. Like, but he did he was fighting Shin. Like he could, like she's all
graphic. Just like dodging
he's
her.
Using the Force and you see the lightsaber like
bend. And I was just like, okay, this is dope. Yeah, like he realized, okay, I'm gonna need a lightsaber.
But I'm glad he did it like
Bendu. Oh,
Bendu. Damn, what a reference. No, then like afterwards, he has that conversation with Hu Yang of talking about like, oh yeah, Kanan. And I have a memory of everyone's lightsabers. Like, can we make Kanan? And it's like, oh, I have this.
I have this piece.
And he's like Caleb Doom. He's like, ooh,
Caleb Doom, his original name. I really loved. And like he rebuilt Kanan's lightsaber.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Why don't we have more lightsaber building in live action?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's a great question. That is a really good question.
But also, I don't know if you saw. I think a couple, like in episode 2, maybe when Ahsoka's in the ship and they're talking in the background, you see all these lightsabers, like on the wall. And like parts as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, I hope they like go more into that. And I was glad that they brought up like him building the lightsaber.
Yeah.
But
I was like, where'd he get a crystal? That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm sure it's one of them had an extra crystal, or maybe in one of those lightsabers they took it apart and kind of like rebuilt it.
Talking about the forest fight.
Yes, I felt like some of the choreography that. Either if it was a stunt person or if it was Rosario Dawson in the early episodes were like okay, they were pretty good, and then once you got to like episode 4, and then after that it was like, hey, this somehow looks much better than the previous couple episodes.
Yeah,
and then for me, finding the finale, even though I would have hoped or I would have wished that it would have been like her and Balin again, because every time they fought, it was really cool. But when she was fighting Elspeth, that fight was really cool, and it's because Morgan Elsbeth is like the actress Diana Lee Inosanto is like a legit like stunt fighter, and she's Bruce Lee's goddaughter, so like she actually knows what she's doing. So like if you rewatch it, you clearly see that like that's her doing all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And she was like moving way better than Ahsoka was, but it was still a cool fight. So it's like, yeah, man, no wonder like they had that cool like samurai fight scene in season 2 of Mandalorian. Is like, yeah, because she knows what she's doing. Like I wish that she would have had more fight scenes to make that fight scene, because she ends up dying at the end. It was kind of weird that was like the final boss of the season, when she didn't really fight at all the whole season. So, but it was still cool.
Because she got the Night Mother level up.
Yeah,
she got the
magic power,
the magic sword,
the green black eyes, and like the
Okay, but if you talk about like the level up, like final boss of the season, like how wild was it when like that platoon of troopers, he's just like, oh, let them know what's gonna happen. It's like, oh, I don't care, they're ready for it. And like that's, again, we were talking about earlier, like how these troopers are like so loyal to the Grand Admiral that like they're willing to die and be reanimated as Night Sister corpses and basically Star Wars zombies to come back. And they're zombies, but they're still shooting at you. Yeah. I was like, yo, this is insane.
Well, this leads to another cool part. When you see the three of them with their lightsabers, Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra. White lightsaber, blue lightsaber, green lightsaber. Yeah. That was a cool visually.
That was very, very cool. Yeah.
Although I feel like they could have chopped up some more
limbs,
more parts.
Yeah,
but
it was almost like they introduced the zombie aspect so that they could finally start chopping limbs off. Yeah, because they like haven't done that in a really long time. Like you see them slicing, and then sparks come off, and then like, you kind of just see
traditional head roll, like Count Dooku and like Jango Fett.
And Jango Fett, yeah.
But like, there were too many swipes and deflection, and then you just see like the burnt like cut rather than like
maybe they couldn't go for like the ultra dismember because they were too busy like not getting shot at. I don't know.
No, I think it's just the Disney factor. They probably don't want to show too much dismemberment.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe with zombies, like they could get away with it.
That's what I'm saying. Like there should have been zombie limbs all over the place. Yeah. And especially with that one guy, Marak or whatever his name was, he was just like dust.
Yeah,
whatever that was. He was like ghost.
He's Night Sister magic. Apparently, I guess that must have been like. That must have been
like Morgan's, a resurrection.
Morgan's magic or anything. Rounding out some of the cooler moments. Thinking of like, again, Sassy Chopper in episode 2 was probably my favorite thing of episode 2.
Hera, like near the end, like bone sawing the council, kind of like saying like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this anyway. I don't care what you guys say.
Yeah, it's like I gotta do it because this guy's coming, and then you have. Senator Ziono just, hey, like, no, this is weird. Then we get that awesome C-3PO cameo. You talked about, Chopper being narrowly not committing a galactic incident in the New Republic. But yeah, like those are cool moments. We have
the introduction of Balin and Shin.
Yeah, it's just like we're not. You know what? We're not Jedi. Like lies, psych, but also we're something else.
But that captain was an idiot.
Yeah,
he's like, I think I know those are Jedi. Let me bring like 5 guys, burgers and fries with me. Yeah, and it's like. And that should be enough for 2 Jedi. It's like, come on, man. Yeah, you know what was gonna happen.
It's like 2 Jedi. We're gonna call their bluff. I was like, yeah. Oh wait, that guy's choking me out. Like and like he still had the hood on, so it was really freaky. It looked really cool. And again, we get more like to look at both Shin Hati and Balin's lightsabers and their fighting styles. It's like direct, but it's like. It's just their lightsaber hilts themselves, like they're so like classy, but it looked like almost new, like High Republic-esque. Like it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I really liked his like kind of like close. I don't know how to call it, like close stance style, but it was like strong.
Yeah, it's like a high double-handed stance. Yeah, like you can tell like it is enough to handle all the flashy stuff because it's like it's direct, it's measured, it's controlled. That's the thing, it's controlled. Like this man never lost control in the entire season. Like he always knew what was up. Ah, man, it's so good.
I just like that there were so many different like styles in the show. Like you have Balin, you have Anakin's, then you have Ahsoka's, then you have Morgan's.
Yeah.
So like all these different styles that were just like
even so Sabine and Ezra, like even Sabine and Ezra.
I like Sabine's where she's able to fight and then also have a gun, and use the Mandalorian armor to block off.
But she had more flamethrower. Yeah, she would have done better against the bandits. She used
a flamethrower like once.
Yeah, like, again, there was a point.
And a jetpack. We need a jetpack.
You need a jetpack. There was a point where every episode of Mandalorian, there was a flamethrower used. So I was like, all right, it's a good episode.
It always worked.
It always worked.
She also had the rocket.
And she did have the rockets against that was against the bandits on Peridia, right? Yeah. Lastly, like last little thing I really liked about stuff in Peridia was like, yeah, the bandits looked like they had styled like if you were like bandits from like an old samurai movie. But I also like the little creatures that Ezra befriended, the Nodi.
Yeah.
Like turtle rock.
The little turtle people, like, ooh,
the
like,
rock people.
They were like, no, don't eat me. And then like the little
also
dog
like the wolf or dog or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That,
it's like, no, it's not
like,
gonna eat
you left me.
Yeah, he's like, but you're cool now because you obviously are fight. You know, I'm trying to look for a word. Like, you're obviously a badass, so I'm gonna hang out with you. And dog was like, dude, what the heck? Freaking hilarious. Yeah, like overall, like I think we can just say like there are a lot of great fun, great moments, like badass moments. Like hell, even the ending, like where you have like Force Ghost Anakin that like Sabine could almost sense. It's like I think there's something there. It's like nah, it's cool. And it's like Force Ghost Anakin looking around like, yeah, you got this.
Obviously, we'll see more.
Hopefully, we'll see more. Then there's also
Ezra
like,
back with
Ezra
Sabine.
back with Sabine. He gets to hang out hopefully with a young Jason.
Yeah.
And also that Chopper was the only one was like, hold up,
I know who it is.
I know who this is because I tried killing him once. Like just I know who this is. Like the whole idea like Sabine finally like getting in tune and understanding the Force gets to prove Hu Yang wrong because he's like you're the worst Jedi ever. And like she got to push Ezra over and Ezra got to go home, which is nice because it's like. Yes and no. I don't know. Like, Thrawn's back. And they're going to Dathomir, which is, of all places, is pretty interesting. But then...
Who are they going to bring back? All these different,
Yeah, there is a whole lot of what's going on. And then, the final scenes of, like, with Balin about the whole idea. Like, you see, like, if you've seen Clone Wars or Rebels, it's like, oh, wait, we're getting into, like, the real wild, mystical
lore
stuff of the Force, which is dope. Maybe we'll get some of that stuff in, like, the James Mangold Jedi Origins movie. Like... And then Hu Yang can show up there too, because he showed up in the beginning of the Jedi Order. Maybe.
But then this also leads up for obviously more Ahsoka and Sabine as they're going through the training and how are they going to get back?
We're exactly where we need to be.
Yeah.
Like that's what she said. Oh snap! I almost forgot. Like the whole like bombardment of while they're hiding inside the skeletons of the Purrgil. Mm-hmm. And even just the Purrgil like thing and stuff
just
like
itself,
just Purrgil in general.
Whales.
Space whales. I remember seeing that in Rebels. Like this is whack. I was like, wait, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it looks even better in live action. Like, it looks so cool.
Just seeing like that type of travel with the ring that they used. I like the effect that they had where like it went through the ships and like disoriented them.
Yeah, and like a couple of X-Wings, didn't make it.
Yeah.
And then again, like with production value, like they kept the X-Wing sound effects. Like they kept all the sound effects very Star Wars. Like it still really truly felt like Star Wars. So.
Oh, did you guys talk about the music?
No, I was getting to that next.
Okay.
We mentioned a little bit, but yeah.
Go take it away, man.
No, the music was great. Isn't it the same composer from Rebels?
From Rebels, Clone Wars, and Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Kevin Kiner was in his bag in this, man. Kevin Kiner is like. He could be one of the ones, like, just like how, like, Ludwig's been making some cool sounds. Like, Kevin Kiner's been incorporating some really cool, like, he incorporated, like, some taiko drums. Like, he can do the bombast, but he can do the subtle, like, really cool, subtle, like, Japanese flutes. Like, you could hear a lot of the really, like, Ahsoka's theme originally and, like, throughout the show. It was done really tastefully. It's really great. And then that, ending credit sequence is also badass. Like I never skip that.
Don't skip the end credits.
I don't skip the end credits in this either.
That they had hints of like the Darth Vader theme, and they would show Anakin.
Yep.
They had
when in episode 5, like at the end, it had
even
that
at the end of
Vader
episode
theme.
4 when they just showed him.
Yeah.
When they showed him for like a second, they had Thrawn's music from Rebels.
The crazy organ, like it was. Oh man, it was a treat. It's just a treat with everything and. Who did the music for Obi-Wan? Like other than the beginning, like the theme was John Williams. I forgot. I think it was this lady's name. I forgot. But I remember like she had some good stuff when it came to like the stuff on Alderaan. Anyway, man, it was so freaking cool to hear Kevin Kiner's work just like really get a bigger platform. Oh, Natalie Holt. She did Loki. Yeah.
And then obviously the main theme was John Williams.
Yeah.
Cool.
Man.
But Natalie Holt.
Yeah. Man, it was really just the music was perfect in this show. Like, yeah, Anthony's not gonna like the like indie rock song. But this is Speeding Away. That's fine.
That's not the score.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's okay.
not part of the score.
But
It's
he
just
did co-write that song with this girl from this indie rock band. So who apparently like her friends are friends with Kevin Kiner. Long story short, whatever. Agree to disagree. I'm cool with that. That's why we're human. We have different opinions. We can all say overall though, like, yeah, the show's great. There are little things like beginning the pacing. That the first couple episodes were started off a little on the slow end.
Yeah, I remember they were touting like, "Oh, we're releasing the first 2 episodes, and it's like an hour and a half of Ahsoka." So I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And then when we watch it, or at least when I watched it, it was like,
I want more, but not in the best way.
Yeah, I was like, I felt like there were a lot of scenes that really dragged, and it didn't need to be the hour and a half. So it could have been like one, maybe like the 45 to 50-minute episode, and like kind of squish it a little bit.
Yeah, what could have been a better way to montage the whole Sabine figuring out the whole Dathomiri map?
That felt like it went long.
It dragged, but we got Lothcat, so I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Like the rest of the show's pacing was
great.
Completely different than the first.
Yeah, once we got to like episode 3 in that
it started to kick
it's like,
off.
oh man, this happened.
Like, and I think a lot of people's not concerns but criticisms of Ahsoka maybe being too dry and too stiff was probably those early episodes, because it was mainly Ahsoka and Sabine.
Yeah.
And the majority of them was like they would talk a little bit, and then because they were mad at each other for some reason, then they would kind of like not say anything, but they were like just staring at each other, and then it would be Ahsoka crossing her arms like 50 times. I don't know. It was
looking
weird.
like kind of like too stoic and just like, oh, I don't know.
Also crossing.
Yeah, but it's just like.
But she had the smirk. And then,
so I feel like if those episodes were shorter, people probably wouldn't have complained as much that, oh, she's so stiff, because there wouldn't have been as much screen time of her being that way.
That actually makes sense. That's an interesting observation. Like, more time to show off, like, oh, I'm getting too used to, oh, it's just whatever.
Yeah, and especially like it seemed like Hera was only in the first couple episodes, and then she comes back near the end.
Yeah,
I felt like it. They're
like somewhere in episode 5, or like at the end of 4. No, like at the end of 4 and then 5, because like she's in the Ghost. I mean, it's cool seeing the Ghost live action. Yeah, the ship. That's always really cool.
Part of me felt like it instead of making like they could have made the same, I guess, length of time episode, but maybe do some form of like small recap for Rebels for the people that haven't seen it, because you really have had to see Rebels to kind of like understand what's going on with these characters. Especially those first 2 episodes. If you haven't watched any of that, you'd be like, what am I watching? I'm just watching 2 or like 3 ladies not talking to each other or something.
Yeah, so it's this weird like, why are they not talking to each other?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like, and I would have wished that
with the occasional lightsaber fight.
Yeah, I would have wished there was the whole reveal about all of Sabine's family being dying in the whole night.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been the last episode.
It should have been like towards the middle,
maybe like episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, like that would have made more sense of just like, hey, like whatever's left of my family, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Which makes more sense because her whole idea of like, oh, I'm not gonna break the thing to find Ezra was like, hey, that's like family. Like, her brother, her mother, they're all dead because of the whole thing that happened on Mandalore. So she's like, this is the only thing I have left of my family.
You would have gotten those actions that she did. Like,
yeah, like it would make more sense because like Hu Yang, it ended up being Hu Yang is the one that's like, oh, maybe that was the only choice she could make, and that was before like Ahsoka like was just like.
No.
Like still mad about it, but it's like in her like post I almost died method, but like, hey, it's a little better. That was when we got the whole little Easter egg of just like, hey, here's a story about the Purg or whatever. Like, oh, here it is of a long time ago in a galaxy far away. You're like,
he said the thing.
He's a little Leo DiCaprio reference thing, but I don't know if anything else you could think of, Danny, that maybe you would have had more of.
I just wish we had more of Balin.
More Balin, yeah, like, especially given everything, yeah.
Throughout the the season as it was going, I was just so intrigued on that like storyline, like wanting to know more.
He's like, we're here at this place because it's you know, like I want to break the cycle. Like, see, when you have characters like that, just understanding like the grand scheme of things and realizing, like, I'm here to break cycles and stuff. You're like, oh, okay, like
something big's gonna.
I'm invested in it because I want to see what they're talking about.
Yeah,
and really get a glimpse of it at the end.
But then, you get a little glimpse of it at the end, but you're kind of like, the whole episode had nothing with them until like the last 5 seconds.
It's like set up for season 2, which thankfully we're getting season 2, but more of it before the season 2 would have made more sense.
And where he was at the end, that's like the statue of the Mortis gods, right?
Yeah. And then the daughter is missing because technically she died, but
Ahsoka.
She's still around in the
owl.
The owl thing,
which we saw.
It's also in Rebels, and it shows up Rebels. It shows up a lot
in Clone Wars.
In a little bit in Clone Wars, but like at the very end of that arc in Clone Wars. But it shows up a lot in Rebels with Ahsoka, and then it shows up now at the end of the season.
Ahsoka's like, how did you get here?
Yeah, just like, what are you doing here? Just like
another galaxy.
A whole another galaxy is like the Force. Don't ask questions.
One thing that bugged me was it the first episode where Sabine gets stabbed?
Yeah.
Just survived.
They found her fast. They found her fast. Don't worry about it.
Obi-Wan found him fast. Like, I don't. The barrier's open, and Obi-Wan
didn't have access to Kylo Ren force healing.
No force healing.
It's not the first time someone's been stabbed in the stomach or wherever it was.
I mean, it was like to the side. It wasn't the center.
They did it. I know it wasn't the center, but they did the same with Reva. Reva twice.
Sister.
She got punctured twice. And she was like, "Nah, I'm cool, guys. Like, it's good."
Well, then I remember at the same time we're talking about somebody who got chopped in half and he's still alive.
Yeah, was still alive. That's Darth Maul, like a master Sith. Yeah. And I mean, whatever.
Even a master Sith.
Whatever reason they came up with it was stupid anyway.
Hate in his heart.
It just seemed like she got stabbed. Good thing there's a hospital there, and she was like good to go in like half a day. It's like, man, that's pretty crazy.
Back the tank.
Yeah, it almost makes it seem like the lightsaber isn't that big of a deal if you're just next to a hospital.
Well, I like that you brought it up because then how we were talking about earlier, where you slice someone and it gets a cut.
You see the burn cut over like the armor, but you don't see like
nothing
hands coming off.
Just treat it as a space sword at this point, but like it's still cool.
Like imagine if Sabine actually like lost something like in that fight, then you would be like, oh damn,
like an arm or a leg, or
not even like a whole arm, but like maybe she lost like 2 fingers or something. Like it would have been more impactful than the stab, because it's the first episode. Nothing's gonna happen to her.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she just like is fine by halfway through the next episode.
But like in the trailer, they have her with short hair.
That's why most of my complaints have been like about the first couple episodes, because I was like, I don't know what they're doing here. And then later Sabine starts acting more like Sabine from Rebels. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what they were doing those first couple episodes.
It's like they were afraid to get right into it because, but by not getting into the characters, it's like they did it's sort of like doing the characters the service, not only for the people who've seen all this stuff.
Yeah, Sabine is a cool character. If you watched 4 seasons of Rebels, you're like, damn, she's cool.
She's cool.
It's like, why are you making her not cool in this show?
She's gonna graffiti this place up and then blow it up because she can. Like, but you get more of that fun attitude as opposed to like the sullen attitude from like the first couple episodes, which I get his point. My ultimate two biggest gripes are, one, no Zeb.
Yeah.
No but Zeb. I don't know where you would kind of put him in.
Space Uncle is not there.
So last time we saw him, he was hanging out with Carson.
Yeah, he was.
So he could have came with him to help them out.
He could have shown up with Chopper,
and he would have been like, "Hey, what's up, old folks?"
Yeah, it would be like, "What's going on here?" And then like, "Oh, we're gonna hold you in whatever. Like, we're gonna court martial you, Harrison Syndulla or General Syndulla." And then he could have said his like Karabast thing. That would have been amazing. That and Chopper didn't murder anybody. That's my ultimate gripe with this show. I get it's not
Maybe
supposed to be.
Season 2.
I know it's not a Rebels show, but like,
it is mainly just Ahsoka.
But I need Chopper to murder people for it to really feel like if it's a continuation to Rebels. Because
I mean, it was. I mean, Filoni pretty much said this is like Rebels season 5. So,
Yeah.
So now we get hopefully with Ahsoka season 2, Rebels season 6.
pretty much. I mean,
So Chopper can kill a guy. He's gonna kill one of
Just
these
one person.
He's gonna kill these one undead night troopers. And he'd be like, "But you're
Twice.
supposed to die. Like, I killed you." Like, imagine him like in his disbelief, just like, "Oh, he's supposed to be dead." I was like, "That's not how this works." But
yeah, like
we'll get there.
I liked Sabine for the most part, but kind of like what you were saying earlier, how they were specifically telling you at the beginning, like, she's barely force sensitive, even though before in Rebels, I don't think she was at all. But then in this show, they're like, she's barely force sensitive, and she's just not good with the force, and she couldn't even like move a pencil. I just didn't like that. It was like within like a week, 2 weeks, and then by the finale, she gets her lightsaber.
No, it's like it's like, you know, desperate times calls for desperate measures.
And that's fine. So the fact that she got her lightsaber, when that happened, I was like, that's kind of quick, but whatever. But then for me, the pushing,
extra push.
Okay,
yeah, for me, I was like, okay, I don't know about
She
that.
got the taste, and then she can just push.
She didn't have the power.
If it was just,
she didn't have the touch.
if it was just the
lightsaber, I would have been like, okay, I'll allow it. But then she was like, don't worry, I got this. I'll help you push. I was like,
Like-
what? How could you help him?
Because she's hella confident now.
Because
Like, she got her groove back.
They were going on the wolf like into the door, and they're like, Sabine, help! And
she was
I
trying,
think she barely moved the door.
No,
open.
it looked like she was moving the door, and then like it was just like everything was shaking because of the Star Destroyer or the ship that was coming.
So like at least they kept going a little bit with it. Like obviously she just didn't get it right away, but yeah, I will say the force push
like
at the end.
I would have liked it to just be the lightsaber part, and then for next season, then you see like more of the progression. Because there's like, okay, I get it now, because they had a whole season of her like starting very slow, and like she did this one thing, and then now next season you see her doing a little more. But yeah, the push was a little like.
I did like when she was trying to move the pencil at the beginning or whatever with the pen, and she's like, stupid.
Yeah.
She flicked it in frustration. That was.
And Hu Yang was just like,
He's just like,
nah, dog, you suck. Pretty much, she's like, no, you can't, you can't do
this
it.
is pure gutter trash.
I will say, as much as I loved like Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn, I think it was the second to last one. It seemed like they were trying really hard to show you that like, hey, this guy's really smart and he's a good tactician, but like instead of like them kind of showing it in a good way, it was like, hey, he's smart. I don't know. It felt like they were kind of like.
They're just
fitting it to
telling you and not showing you.
And especially for someone like, obviously, so we've seen Rebels, so we know. But for someone that hasn't seen Rebels, I wonder how those like last 3 episodes played out for them.
They're like, oh, this guy's
Like,
smart.
is he like? Did it seem like he was smart
The
in those last?
ultimate
I mean, he
Yeah.
won in the end. Like, he got out.
I know. Like in the last episode, it was better because he, like you said, when he was calculating like how that somehow she was gonna, like, Ahsoka and her team were gonna make it, just because he was like he was talking to Morgan, and he's like, I think we should prepare. She's like, why? They're like way over there, and then he's like, well, you know, she's the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, and then Morgan Elsbeth was like, I don't care, and he's like, so I'm gonna prepare as if she's gonna come.
Yeah,
and he was completely right. He's like, I know full well that she's gonna do whatever it takes to get here, and she'll get here.
Yeah, he's the whole idea.
So I liked that part because it showed him like he doesn't mess around.
The heroics of one Jedi.
But what I didn't like was like, so his plan was to send like 2 or 3 TIE fighters.
Distract them. Just because remember he said, I can't. I'm gonna send.
But they got there anyway.
I can.
Didn't they have like a bunch of TIE fighters? I felt like he could have sent like 10.
He's gonna save it for when he actually gets his buttons because he needs to go against the New Republic.
I don't know. That was my own thing. If I saw like 5 or 6, then I'd be like, okay, that's better. But he sent like 3 of them, and I think they took out 2 of them by like
just crashing into
them. I was like,
the man had sound logic. I told
like the logic was right, but the execution I felt was a little off. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, overall, I liked the show. It was a much better watch than
like Book of
Boba Fett. I kind of liked it better than season 3 of Mandalorian.
Okay,
season 3 of Mandalorian I felt was like really lopsided.
Yeah.
It had some good moments and some like, what is going on?
We didn't get no Book of Boba Fett like spin.
That guy that does the spin, like
the spin shot.
Oh my god!
So Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
All
There
right,
are
now-
other things that
But yeah,
As
better
you
than
were
Book of
just-
Boba Fett, better than Obi-Wan, and I don't know when season 2 is coming out or if they're gonna continue some of these storylines with some of the other shows.
if it's like season 2 of Rebels, you know it's already gonna get better because season 2 of Rebels was so good.
So
because I know. I mean, again, anything that they've announced, I don't believe is coming out. Even though they said he's gonna be doing the like Infinity
movie.
War type movie for all of these shows.
The
I don't know if that's gonna
post
happen.
Return of the Jedi like
so far, the
crossover
only
movie.
thing we know is coming out is Acolyte and
Skeleton
Skeleton.
Crew.
yeah.
Skeleton
First,
Crew
yeah.
looks cool,
And
That's
that's
a
like
good
already
premise.
done. They already said
Yeah.
the Skeleton Crew.
But that's
And
also
Acolyte's
tied
already
into
done.
this timeline. As
Yeah.
well.
Well, not Acolyte, but like
No,
Skeleton Crew, I
Skeleton
think
Crew.
does. But I think there's a rumor that like Skeleton Crew, those kids may have gone completely somewhere else, and Jude Law's character is doing something. That's why it'll be exciting to see where all that leads. I don't know if I can rank them. I think I mostly agree with Anthony's ranking. Like there are some really cool stuff in Obi-Wan.
ranking
but overall,
what the live action
shows.
the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like what is that?
I would say Mandalorian season 2, 1.
One.
Andor.
Oh wait,
I
I'm
forgot.
sorry. Andor's top. Like I'm gonna say that right now.
I like the Mandalorian.
So
I'm gonna
better.
say
Mandalorian season 2, Andor, Mandalorian season 1.
yeah. I think
Okay.
I'd go with
There
that.
we go. Mando season 2, Andor,
season 1,
Mando season 1.
and then
And then I would say
I think
this,
then Ahsoka.
then season 3 of Mandalorian,
Yep.
and then
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan,
Book of
Boba
Boba
Fett.
Fett.
and then Book of Boba.
Yeah.
We're not missing anything else, right?
No.
That's everything. That's
unless
all
you
live action?
count like Visions and Tales of the Jedi and
Tales of the Jedi is cool. It's animated. These are more live action.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I'm not gonna tie in like the last season of Clone Wars, which is
Correct,
like
yeah.
except for that
But-
one arc. They're like everything else is like godlike. Like it's really freaking.
But yeah, it was just for these.
and like
shows.
Bad Batch.
Okay,
We're not
live
gonna.
action.
I won't have. Although Bad Batch is really good, I don't know if it's not necessary viewing, but Bad Batch is extremely good for what the kind of story it tells. I mean, there's like a couple episodes that are kind of one-offs, but like are kind of like eh. But then, yeah, Bad Batch so far is really cool. So I can't wait for season 3 of that.
so yeah, overall cool show. Hope they continue it. Hope it shows
What people
somebody
are interested in.
Yeah, I hope it shows that like Dave Filoni might be the guy. Keep giving him stuff to do.
I think
He knows what he's doing.
I mean, I've known this for years.
Yeah, but
yeah.
sometimes, like I said, the last Star Wars celebration, Kathleen Kennedy announced like 3 or 4 movies, and I don't know if any of them are coming out. So
I want the James Mangold one to come out, but
The
what
thing
happened with Indiana Jones?
it bombed.
Yeah, we don't know, dude.
And there's been a lot of rumors that she's been let go, and they're probably gonna make an announcement later this year at the beginning of next year. And so if she's out, are they still gonna do those movies that she thought were gonna happen? I don't know.
I would say they at least keep. Well, it makes sense to keep the
Dave Filoni one.
The thing is, so do you think it will still be a like theater movie, or will it just be like a Disney Plus movie?
no, it has to be a theater.
I think it'd be a theater.
Does it
movie.
have to be? Because
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. How popular are these shows really? I know Mandalorian's popular, but
I mean, I could see them
Since
doing
then,
it.
the viewership has been going
put
down.
little Grogu in a theater, everybody's gonna go watch it.
I know.
boy.
But I'm just saying, like,
That's my son.
it
I gotta
won't,
go
it won't be
support my
nearly
son.
the same as like episode 7 or episode 8.
Yeah, my son.
Well,
So
7
I
just
want-
broke all the records.
Well,
pretty
7,
much.
whatever episode 7 was going to be about, it was going to break any record because it was like
Episode 7.
10 or I don't know how many years since Star Wars.
Yep,
So,
10 years.
and I mean, they're pretty much working on that again because the last movie came out in 2019.
Yep.
And
At this rate.
all those movies that they just supposedly announced,
Yeah, like,
they haven't
they
even
had no
started
time.
on them.
Yeah.
So whenever they do
Well, that's
eventually
the whole-
start on them, it'll
yeah.
be like at least 3 years since they actually start them. When they actually start them. So
That's true.
we're what, almost done with 2023 now. So we may not even get a movie, another Star
least
Wars
2026.
26.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
man.
But we'll see.
We shall see. Hopefully, they make some announcements soon, and maybe they'll somehow say Favreau and Filoni
Are the guys.
are the guys, and they're gonna take over something along those lines, and and then maybe they'll
Plan
say,
everything out.
yeah, maybe they'll say, well, keep this, not this, keep this, not this, and then they have like an actual plan, like they, something
Sure,
they didn't have for the sequels.
I mean, just seeing also how all this is going to tie then later into the sequel, because this is, happening in between the original and the sequel.
Right.
Trilogy,
They have to
so.
get to
Luke again.
Yeah, and then showing somehow how they, figured out
That made
the
me
cloning of the Emperor.
That made me think about something funny, how you have Thrawn going back to Dathomir and that whatever cargo of what it is. I'm thinking dead Night Sisters that they're going to resurrect. But imagine
more Maul.
Imagine
again.
Imagine if he gets to Dathomir and it's like, and they get the point like, oh yeah, he had Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, he had a son, and he's just like, oh no, like
another son.
Another
like,
son?
what?
That's not Luke?
No, like he's just saying that like Anakin had a son. And he's just like, oh,
Like with somebody else?
no, that's just to say like his son is Luke Skywalker. Like, he doesn't know,
okay.
because he's been gone and he doesn't know who Luke Skywalker is. So he'll be like,
True.
wait,
Yeah.
what Skywalker? He did what? 2 Death Stars? Like,
Why did you build the second one?
yeah, he would have been like, if I were around here, I wouldn't have built the second one because obviously the first one.
He would have all the right logic
Yeah, dude.
that we need to hear him say live.
He's just a very solid and efficient upper management guy. That's all a Thrawn is. Just a solid upper management who gives props to his guys.
But it was definitely a solid entry of Star Wars universe. I mean,
And it has
I think
potential.
we enjoyed Andor, but there are people that didn't like Andor. So
slow.
for the people that maybe that wasn't their type of Star Wars, then I feel like this was more in line with what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Especially because you got lightsaber.
Yeah, and it also has like the war part stuff with all the military stuff.
Yeah.
So it can get, and we have the potential for it to get really like fun weird with the whole Force and the mystical stuff too, and wars because Thrawn doing stuff.
and more Purgle, more space whales.
More Purgle. Maybe Bendu shows up. Yo, that'd be wild. If Bendu showed up, I would just lose my crap. Anyway, enough Star Wars nerding out. So we really appreciate everybody giving us go ahead and taking the time and listening to our recap and thoughts on Ahsoka. Overall, as you heard, very positive. We're gonna try to sneak in some more TV show content. So if there's some recent TV shows that you may want to go into, like if you want us to talk about The Bear or some other like that big stuff that's come out the last few years.
Man, the bear.
Hot D.
That Hot D, we've talked about it in the past, man. But that Hot D season 2's coming out next year.
Stranger Things. All these good shows.
Yeah, there's so many. We live in a really crazy platinum age where we're just spoiled with this stuff. So, we're gonna do more of these. Danny will put up a kind of fun little poll what people may want for us to talk about when it comes to TV. We'll try to sneak those in between our movie talks. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening to us on your podcast preference of choice, please do us a big favor, leave a review and tell us what you love so that we can get more of that engagement going and we can tailor it to what everybody's liking and listening to. With that, gentlemen, I think we can safely close it out. Stay tuned till next time. Grab the popcorn bags ready. Fill it up with your favorite type of popcorn and, be entertained with our next episode. Thanks so much. See you next time.
Later.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.